Source.
Hey, you like Pez?
It looks like that. Here's Heaney from the boundary line. He's an expert at these. From the boundary line!
Hello and welcome to Behind the Boundary podcast. I'm your host, Pez. I'm here with Source, and we are getting through this AFL season right down to the last round of round 23 before finals. And Source, the COVID-19 thing continues to haunt us and haunt the AFL, and things are changing all over the place, but it's going to be all over for 10 teams after this weekend.
Hey, Pez, yeah, it's definitely, that's the attitude of the AFL, is we are pushing through no matter what, and we're trying to get through as quick as we can so we can enjoy football while we're still getting some crowds in some of those interstate places and keeping the momentum going for the AFL, especially in Victoria. That seems to be the attitude, isn't it? Keep it going. They've scrapped the bye. That's no longer before the final series. They're going straight in from round 23, straight into the first week of finals. So keep it going as much as we can.
Yeah, probably a smart move by them as well, with lots of different things happening in all the different states and territories around. So also big news about, where the grand final is going to be hosted. And it's kind of a hard thing, because if they decide somewhere and then they go into a snap lockdown and then you can't have crowds and different things, can they leave it up to chance and wait for the last week? They probably can't. They probably need to have things set in place so people can, start to purchase their tickets. And the most likely place for mine is that SBS Stadium over in Western Australia, because they had a crowd, for the Derby on the weekend. And Fremantle got the chocolates, and it was great to see on the TV with a loud crowd there ready to go.
And I think that's what they've got to do, Pez. I think that's the only way that they can salvage the AFL grand final and maybe salvage the final series. We've had some games throughout the season that have had crowds, obviously in Victoria, and it just doesn't work with that limited ground. The only way that we can work in Victoria with the capped numbers we would need to have no more COVID cases within Victoria, or at least be on the decrease. Today we had another 50 cases. It's less likely that we're going to be holding the grand final here. If they do hold it here, then they need to make it open up to just don't worry about the corporate suites and all that, just make it all the fans. But that's less likely going to happen, Pez. There's no chance it's really going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
it's going to be in Perth, and I think that it's the right decision. And the only thing that I have a problem with it being over at SBS Stadium, Pez, is the time. I think that they're going to dabble again with the night grand final, and I just don't think it works for Victorians with that time difference.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it, because we're used to watching the twilight, isn't it? Which is about like a 6 o'clock start time we've seen this year a lot on a Sunday evening. And it's kind of like a 4:40 time slot for what we would usually watch with the sun starting to go down and things like that. But if it is at Optus Stadium there, I think they'd want to take advantage, and they would really consider a night grand final, because they want to take advantage of the lights there and they've got at that fantastic stadium. But
that's like a 6 o'clock time slot for us. That's like a 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock time slot. That's horrible. That'd be horrible for us.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria.
It'd be bad. It'd be bad because we wouldn't, make it consciously to the grand final on the grand final day there. That wouldn't be too good.
No, and I guess, for a consolation prize for Victorians would be being able to actually enjoy the grand final with friends and family and around people, which, again, it looks less likely with the way that the restrictions have eased in the past. So, realistically, Victorians are having less of a say, Pez, and I think that whatever is going to be best for football in terms of the players, they've all come out this week and said, we want to play in front of fans. We need to play in front of fans. We don't care. And they say they don't care with the inverted commas I'm going to use there, Pez, because of course they care if they're going to give away a home final in, for example, like Geelong. Let's say they win this week. The first week they play Port Adelaide, and the AFL go, you must go over to Port Adelaide and play in front of their home crowd. Like, I'm sure that they wouldn't want to play that home crowd, but they would like a neutral sort of home crowd.
Yeah, well, that would be very disappointing for Melbourne, working so hard to get a top spot and then having to play at their opponent's home ground if it was to work out like that. And there's things that are happening this round, Source, in terms of the top 8, where AFL clubs, they don't know where the games are going to be played. So usually you would know exactly where they're going to be played if you finish in this certain spot and you're going to play against this certain team. So teams, I'd imagine, would go into games with different mindsets. But here, there's so much unknown still out there. Like, you don't actually know if you're going to get a home ground at the MCG against the Port Adelaide. You might have to play over in Western Australia. You might have to play at Adelaide Oval. So you just got to come in with the mindset of we're getting this season over and done with. We're just going to try and finish on top and get the best advantage for us and not worry about what the AFL are going to do. We're ready to play anywhere. I think that's the mindset the clubs need to go in with. Because if you don't go in with that mindset, you're going to find it very difficult sitting there a couple of goals down in the first quarter of a final and then not knowing what to do after that.
Yeah, and it's a huge call there, Pez, because every game this week has significant impact to the finals. Like almost every game there allows teams to either sew up a top spot or sew up a top four, double chance, and with no week break next week, you can't afford to be going into this test, half done and going around the way and, not performing to the best of your ability, because we've seen in the past when round 23 happens, teams don't want to give away too many secrets. They run a modified game plan, but every game in this week matters. So it's important that they are putting their best footy on the field. They're performing, and despite what may happen next week, and in terms of the AFL not having all their shit together, basically, and an organisation of where they're going to play the games, they're just got to go hammer and tong and try and get sew up the highest position they can. And there's a range of different scenarios that can change the top 8 pairs, especially that top 4.
Yeah, well, you look at the top 4, and I don't know how many times this has happened in history, Source, but you've got the Bulldogs versus Port Adelaide, both in the top 4 at the moment, 3rd and 4th, and you got 1v2, Geelong versus Melbourne in the same round, last round of the season, and depending on how results go, you could imagine that some of those sides are going to be seeing each other in the first week of finals as well. So they might, trade and not play the exact same team. But interesting, 2 top 4 clashes heading into finals, which is probably very rare.
Yeah, and especially with so much on at stake, pairs, like the winner goes and finishes first, and obviously the loser has the potential of finishing 3rd or 4th, and in both of those scenarios they lose they lose their home final. So it's not like, you lose the game, you finish 2nd. In both cases, they could slip as low as 3rd in both situations. The Ds would need the Bulldogs to beat the Power to remain 2nd if they lose. But realistically, you don't want to leave anything up to chance, and you want to take control of your own destiny, get the win, and sew up a home final. And I'm again using those in inverted commas, the home final. But I guess at a neutral ground, and the only teams that are available to have crowds there is Port Adelaide. So Port Adelaide will be working super hard to try and finish as high as they can, try and gain that home ground advantage, because they're the only team that's going to be left in the finals race that actually has a home ground advantage.
Well, we're going to know, Source, after tonight's game. We've got Bulldogs versus Port Adelaide there. So whoever wins that, you go into Melbourne and Geelong, those two teams know exactly what they need to do in order to get a home final. Because if, say, Port Adelaide do win, they go above both Geelong and Melbourne. Okay, so Geelong and Melbourne both would need to win in terms of, depending on how much power, win with percentage being so close with Geelong. But Geelong or Melbourne would need to win to actually get a home final. Because you lose then, you're not getting a home final. So that's a big game for Port Adelaide to try and do that and put the pressure on those clubs. If the Bulldogs win, it's a little bit of a different story, with Geelong probably needing to win to get that home final, and Melbourne can probably cruise a little bit there if the Bulldogs do win tonight.
Yeah, and the Port Adelaide's a big one too, Pez. For in order them to win and maintain top spot pretty much no matter what happens, is they just need to win, and they need to win really convincingly. So in order for them, if Melbourne lose and Port Adelaide win, they need to beat Geelong's percentage. So they're already 5 goals behind, so they really need to pile it on. So they'll be going pretty hard tonight to try and not only get the victory, but try and sew up some percentage and try and guarantee that they're going to be playing in front of their home crowd, which could make a huge difference compared to all those other clubs. We know that both the Sydney teams are not going to be playing in front of a home crowd. Essendon, West Coast. If West Coast make it, or Fremantle, which Fremantle still are alive, Pez, they're still alive. They're the only other 2 teams that could potentially have that home grand final, but not home grand final, but like a home final series in front of a home crowd. But in order for Fremantle to do that, Pez, they need to. They can finish as high as 7th if the Blues beat the Giants, the Magpies beat the Bombers, and the Lions beat the Eagles. Otherwise, yeah, Two of those need to happen, otherwise they're not going to make it through. So there's still a chance for Freo as well as West Coast, similar sort of scenario, but there's a lot that needs to go right for them.
The best ones that we had a read of pre-show source was Richmond, who were sitting a game outside the 8 in St Kilda, can both apparently still make it.
Yeah, so the Tigers, I don't know why they've gone with so many outs this week. 10 outs, a massive record, but they can finish 8th if the Lions beat the Eagles, which most suspect they do. The Magpies upset the Bombers, and the Saints beat the Dockers. So there's a massive chance. Oh, hang on, Pez, I didn't read the rest of it. They'll need to make up a percentage gap of 24 goals on the Bombers, so that's probably not likely going to happen.
Well, the Bombers could lose by 10 goals and then Richmond win by 12, 14 goals.
Yeah,
that could happen.
It could happen. I mean, the less likely scenario, but definitely still alive, Pez.
St Kilda is what 9.8% behind Richmond, so I can't imagine they're still in contention.
They are still in contention, Pez. They can finish 8th if the Lions beat the Eagles, the Magpies beat the Bombers, the Hawks beat the Tigers. All things that could happen, But the problem is you need to make up a 60-goal percentage gap. So I don't think you've scored.
Is that to Essendon?
I think it's just to anyone, mate. 60 goals. 60 goals on the Bombers, so you need to chase up.
So Saints beat Fremantle by 30 goals and Essendon lose to Collingwood by 30 goals.
Yeah,
Saints
cool.
are still in it.
I don't think you guys have scored 60 goals this year, Pez, the way you guys have played. But highly unlikely for a couple of those bottom side teams. But all eyes are really going to be on that Essendon-Collingwood game. That is the one that I think has the most potential because that game there affects so many.
How good is this for GWS? They win, they're in. How good is it for Essendon? They win, they're in.
Yep, it's simple.
There's nothing else that will happen in terms of that. The one I'm really interested in with this top 8 finish is if Port Adelaide beat the Bulldogs tonight. If they do, Brisbane will know exactly how much they need to smash West Coast by on the weekend at home in order to steal a top spot from the Bulldogs. Can you imagine the Bulldogs having such a good season and not finishing in that top 4? Really important for the Bulldogs to come out and win tonight against Port Adelaide.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that they've literally spent all year in the top 4 pairs, and the last month or so their football has been a little bit undesirable. They've had a couple of injuries, and Port Adelaide the opposite. Their last month has been really good, not beating any top 4 sides in that, but they've strung together 7 straight wins, and I think they're 8-1 at home as well. So huge game tonight, and it would be disappointing for them, but I can't see. I mean, I don't even know what I see, but it would be really disappointing for Western Bulldog fans to, just miss out, especially to the Lions.
No, you wouldn't want to miss out on the top 4. It's very, very important to finish in the top 4, as we know, to win the final series. Very rare that you win it outside, but if any team can do it, the Bulldogs have done it recently.
Settle down, Pez. Settle down. Settle down. I hate that stat. It's happened once in the last 20 years that a team has won it from outside of that top 4, and a remarkable run for them. But there's a few sides that look. There's not one of those things next week, whatever the top 8 looks like, Pez, that you're going to be looking at that, and any team or any supporter would be extremely confident. Even if you are finished, 5th playing 8th, and for example the Bombers sneak in, I can't see the Lions the Swans, or the Lions, the Dogs, all comfortable playing either GWS or Essendon. I think it's going to be a great final series despite no crowds.
Yeah, we'll love to get into it, and next week's show we'll know the set 8, and we'll get into it there. But the end of the year source, this isn't over, but players retire, and there's been a few retirements over the season, some pre-season, some throughout the season, and there's been a few more this week's source. So I thought we might give a segment a go here.
Hashtag.
This is interesting. It's a main event in any stadium in the world.
Hashtag going viral.
We only can't go with it.
Hashtag bleep, bleep, bleep. That's all, folks.
Was that a bit of a clock there?
It was a bit of a clock, Pez. The metronome, I think it actually is, but it's appropriate for the clock ticking out on these players' career. So how are we going to run this, Pez? We're going to do our normal, get a hashtag ready for the players?
No. So I've come up with an idea here. They've retired source. They've given their, blood, sweat and tears throughout their career. Some of them shorter than others, some of them longer than others. But we thought we'd add to their awards list source. So instead of giving them a hashtag as such in Bring Your Own Hashtag, how it usually runs. We're going to have a look at some awards, that are given out around the world and try and see if we could match them up and give them an award for their career that would relate to them.
Oh, I love it, Pez. And we're not going to go through every single player and give them an award, Pez, but what we will do is before we get into the awards of some of our favourite retirees this year is we will go through the list of players that have retired. Pez, feel free to jump in if anything stands out for you, anything you'd like to add. But we've got Mark Murphy, Chris Mayne, Levi Greenwood, Patrick Ambrose, Kale Hooker, Stephen Hill, Jared Harborough, Jack Homch. I should not have done the names, Pez. Jordan Murdoch, Zach Smith, Tom Scully, Tom Rockcliffe, Sean McKernan, Dylan Robertson, Daniel Venables, and Lynn Jong. Sean Burgoyne, David Asprey, Basher Hooley, David McKay, and Eddie Betts announced his retirement earlier this week.
Yeah, it's a big round of footy for some of these players that, are playing their final game. There's some others in there that there are some delistings as well that fans might come out and say, hey, this player's not playing next year, but some of them were delisted as well, and some are still looking for other clubs. So hopefully career's not over for them. But we've chosen 6, Source. We've got 6 to go through. So it looks like I'm just going to give you a name and you're going to give me an award, and then we'll go vice versa until we finish all 6 of them.
Sounds good, Pez. Load it up. Let's go.
All right. So I might start right down. Let's go with David Asprey, the 3-time premiership player, played about 150 games for the Tigers. What award are you going to give him?
David Asprey, I mean, what a career he's had. 155 games, Pez, 12 seasons, jam-packed with injuries, but 3 premierships to go with it, and a really, really key part in the dynasty that is the Richmond Tigers, winning a premiership roughly every 50 games. That's not a bad little stat there, Pez. I've gone with the Cannes Film Award Festival because, do you know much about the Cannes International Film Festival, Pez?
They show movies, I think.
Yeah, well, it's awards for it's a festival just dedicated to short films, and that's all it was, Pez. He didn't have a huge career in terms of games, but every time he got on a bit of a run, those little short stints of 50 games, win a premiership. So not a bad little career, and I think very fitting. The Cannes Film Award, Pez.
So he's got the Cannes Film Award. He could probably put that in and make a little documentary about his short 155 game career with his 3 premiership medallions. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's not a bad little stat sheet there, is it, Pez?
Not bad at all. All right, so that's the first one. Nice little award there, Source, that you came up with for Asprey there. We've got 5 players left. All
right, next one, Pez, I'm going to give you is Sean Burgoyne.
Well, it's a pretty easy one for Sean Burgoyne. Over 400 games. As we know, he gave down a 15-year contract he turned down to go to the Gold Coast at the end of last season. So, he's played for Port Adelaide, won a premiership, played for Hawthorn, won premierships. So he has a very decorated career, very longevity, and I don't even know if it's going to be over yet, to be honest. Gold Coast might be getting on the blower and we'll see what it goes, but give him the Lifetime Achievement Award because to get to 400 games in this day and age and continue to play at a high level has been absolutely amazing. So Sean Burgoyne, congratulations. Add the Lifetime Achievement Award to your milestone list.
Nice, Pez. Very silky there. Very silky award there. Nice. All right, let's get for the next one, Pez.
All right. I'll give you this one. Another Richmond player. So you can go on the same little tangent there. But we've got Basher Hooley, who came over from Essendon and premiership player at Richmond.
Yeah, look, again, another 3-time premiership player, and anyone sort of retiring of any sort of big note over this segment is going to be a 3-time premiership player, normally with the Tigers, because they've been part of a great era. He played 206 games with the Tigers and only 26 games for the Bombers. Obviously involved in the drug saga all that long time ago, and I forgot there was only in 26 games, but, I think this one's really easy for me because you're going to give him the Norm Smith Award because Very, very questionable in the Richmond's first premiership, that drought-breaking premiership, Pez, 2017, whether Dusty Martin was the true Norm Smith. So I'm going to do a do-over. He can have the Norm Smith medal. Congratulations, Basher Hawley. Congratulations.
You can't do that to Dusty. He'll be rapt to hear that he's actually got the Norm Smith medal now, and we can add it there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Basher Hawley, he's been a workhorse. I'll still remember from that documentary we watched earlier in the year, Source, how he'd done his calf, and Damien Hardwick was like, I need you. Can you run it out for me? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it for you. I'll go. So very good insight there, and Basher Hawley, very tough running halfback.
All right, Pez, next one for you. A little bit more of a tricky one, but Jared Harbrow. All yours, matey.
Jared Harbrow.
Yep.
You give me Jared Harbrow. Yeah? He's at the 33 years of age. Started his playing career in 2007. He was drafted in the rookie draft, number 27.
I asked for an award, mate, not
Bulldogs.
his player card profile, the back of the card.
He played 70 games for the Bulldogs and 191 for the Gold Coast Suns from 2011 to present. He was one of those 5 players to go up there.
Yeah, foundation player.
As the foundation player, as they would call them. So here we have him. What did he do? He left in 2011. 5 years later, the Bulldogs were very disappointed to lose him, by the way. And 5 years later, they won a premiership, and he's suffered up at the Gold Coast Suns for a long period of time there. So you're trying to think of an award. He's been very consistent in terms of. His team's been very consistent over 10 years, being down the bottom of the ladder. So we're going to give him, and you might not be familiar with this award, but it's the Star of Gallantry Award. And to explain this award a little bit, it's awarded for acts of great heroism. Okay, so he's a hero to the Gold Coast Suns, and his gallantry action in circumstances of great peril. And his peril was being at the Gold Coast Suns. So he's been very gallant there, and he gets the Star of Gallantry Award. So Harbrow, add that to your milestone list.
Pez has just gone whack to about 4 or 5 different people there. Just whack. Wow. I'm not sure if he's going to be adding that to his player card career, Pez, but I like the thinking behind it.
A very nice medallion, that one. So I don't see how he'd be disappointed.
It is a very good looking medal there, Pez.
All right. What have we got? Only 2 players left. We better save one of them till last. So you can have probably an unknown player who doesn't come up in a lot of Victorian media source, but David McKay from the Adelaide Crows.
Yeah, David McKay. It's one of those. He's one of those players that the general footy fan is not going to actually know outside of the couple of things that happen here and there in terms of when you're watching the game. You're like, oh yeah, I remember him. But he played 248 games for the Adelaide Crows. 33 years old. He is the 9th most capped player in Adelaide Crows history, which a little surprises me actually. You forget how young of a football club that Adelaide are. And Pez, realistically, there's not a lot of achievements that he's actually had in terms of, obviously it's a high achievement of playing 248 games, close to 250. He's going to fall 1 short, which is a bit unfortunate. But he seems to, from all reports, he's one of those sort of good, clubmen. He's always the first one picked. He's one of those people that, you always see him in the team, and you're sitting there going, yes. As a fan, he's one of those staples of your team that no matter if he's playing, you're not disappointed. When he's out, you're like, oh, that's a big loss. But he's not one of those players where everyone else is like, he's out. Oh, no, that's a really big win for us. He's just a staple of the club. He's for me, he's man of the fans. He's a man of the Adelaide Crows. He stuck through the thin, the thick and thin of it. He played in that, that premiership disappointment, I guess, that back to the Tigers a couple of years ago. But for me, the People's Choice Award, Pez. The People's Choice Award, because the fans love him, and not even diehard, Adelaide Crow fans love his platform of work.
Yeah, they'd love his effort week in, week out. And it's kind of disappointing that players like that are not really well known in the Victorian market, with the mainstream media always talking about the big clubs and the big players. So, well done to David McKay. Add that to your list. And we can end off one more award to give out, Source. It's a big one. We've got Eddie Betts, who has come up recently last week. We spoke about the racism thing in terms of that, but it's also speaking about his footy career. Hasn't it been fantastic? Starting at Carlton, heading over to Adelaide, and then coming back to Carlton for a couple of seasons at the end here.
Yeah, he's had a remarkable career, Pez, and right from his very first goal that he ever kicked for Carlton back in 2012, I think it was 2005. Sorry, at the G against North Melbourne.
Geez, 7 years off.
Right, I got the years mixed up when he moved to Adelaide. But right from his first goal, Pez, we knew that as a football fans we were watching something special. From the boundary, right foot banana, which most of his goals seem to be, is from that the banana sort of stance of it, and yeah, just absolute magic. He's one of the few players, Pez, to lead the goal kicking at two clubs, so Adelaide and Carlton. As we know from our trivia back in early on in there. Great trivia question. But he has a huge amount of accolades, Pez. As we said, 349 games. He's had 638 goals. He's been two-time Indigenous All-Star representative, a one-time representative for the All-Stars when they did the 2020 sort of the bushfire game. He also has Carlton's best first-year player, 4 AFL Goal of the Year nominations, and I reckon every single year he's had a nomination. Sorry, that wasn't just nominating; that was actually winning the Goal of the Year. Every other year,
he had a nomination this year, the one-hander against Sydney. Just grabbed it with one hand and snapped it around the body.
If you want to, Pez, if you want to get lost in an absolute wormhole on YouTube, type in Eddie Betts' best moments, and you are just in awe. You forget how good some of these goals were. There's a clip on there as the top 30, Pez, and every single one is like, holy shit, how did that go in? And the weaving, the ducking, it's not just his amazing navigation with the actual boot. It's the way that he weaves in, he drops the ball. He's so clever and a real spectacle to watch.
Yeah, great player. So you've told us about him. He deserves the limelight, so I'm not going to sting you for that one, but you haven't given him an award yet.
Oh, well, I thought you'd like to, Pez, because it was a very, very clever one, Pez, and I'm a little bit impressed for you because your mentality is not normally that good, so quite impressed with the award.
Well, one of the greatest awards someone can receive, he's got the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's not just in representative of his footy career, which is probably not what he wants. He wants to be remembered and continue to grow and stamp racism out, not just in footy, but in Australia and the world in general. So the Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Eddie Betts, playing his last game this week for Carlton against GWS, which is a big clash, even though Carlton aren't in contention for finals. So congratulations on a great career to all the players we mentioned, and all their new awards for the 6 lucky players to get a behind the boundary exclusive milestone award.
Yep, I'll make sure I add it to their Wikipedia pages, Pez. It'll be they'll be very, very happy with the accolades that they've achieved, and I think the Nobel Peace Prize, as you spoke for Eddie Betts there, Pez. That was one of the key things that he said in his retirement speech to the boys of the football club, is that this chapter in his life is over. And he plays football because he loves football and he loves putting a smile on people's faces. But now it's about changing mindsets and changing the game, not just inside football. And again, some very powerful words from Eddie Betts, and we know that, look, he's not going to stop until he stamps out racism as much as he can within sport, and hopefully he's successful in that.
Oh, 100%. We all hope for the best in terms of that. A very, very serious matter, as we know from our show last week, Source. So there we go. A bit of fun with the retirees here at Behind the Boundary, and we need to have a look and see how we went and get into a review of how did we go here on Behind the Boundary? What awards are we going to get for round 22?
Soft review. It's no official review. How does it end? We don't know. They've kind of lost, but they've won as well.
Well, here we are, Source. Another week, another review, and up on Twitter, at Behind the Bound, we've got all our updates up there ready to go, and we've got the emojis that come out, which we'll mention at the end of this little recap, which hopefully you've enjoyed the little emojis this week as well, Source. We'll see if there's any confusion for that one.
Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion last week, Pez, with my eyesight playing up a little bit. But let's get straight into not only our bets, Pez, but dissect some of the big upsets of the round and some of the great football that we saw from round 22. We start things off with the GWS Richmond game, Pez.
Yeah, GWS Richmond game. GWS coming out 73 points in that first half. Just absolutely amazing stuff. And Richmond pretty much just lying down and they're going, you know what, GWS, take the reins. You guys can play finals and we'll just sit it out this year and see if we can re-engage next year. I had my little tab special, the Richmond 1-39 and Rewalt 2+ goals at $5, which I couldn't go past and couldn't write off Richmond. It was very wrong in that and lost the cheeky there.
Yeah, that was a little bit cheeky, and it was funny, Fez, because last week's show you weren't that confident, but as you said, you can't pass that up. You've got a team like Richmond and a superstar in Jack Rewalt for 2 goals. That should have been money for VBs, but lucky for me and lucky for anyone else who jumped on. My bet, it wasn't to be, and I went with my bonus bet from last week, GWS 1-39, Josh Kelly to get 20, and Pez. Early on, I was looking in all sorts, and I actually went to bed during the last quarter when they were about 50 points up, thinking, well, that bonus bet's gone. And I sent you a message about midnight when I checked, and I'm like, you little ripper, 39
the old
points.
Backdoor cover.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Cover. It was 17 seconds to go, and it wasn't looking likely, but Richmond were able to get a goal. Maurice Rioli, you can thank him there, kicking that goal to put them 39 points down and to put the GWS 1-39 with a little green tick. Very, very good start.
Very, very good start, Pez. And it's an unfortunate thing that happened in the next game, the Hawthorn Hawks versus the Western Bulldogs, because it's the death of the Hawthorn hack, Pez. It's gone. It's gone.
It didn't happen. So Aaron Norton didn't get it, obviously, because he had his 4+ there. Did anyone else get it?
No one from the Western Bulldogs looked like they were lucky to score 4 goals for the whole team. Pez, they scored 5.
Yeah.
They got absolutely pantsed, and not a great couple of weeks for the Bulldogs. I obviously lost my bet in that game. I had them to win. I had Norton to kick 4 and McRae to get 30, which he did. But it was disappointing for the Bulldogs, Pez, because it's a game that they shouldn't have lost, and it's going to cost them a top 4 spot maybe.
Well, yeah, if they don't win tonight, they've got to really turn it around from last week. So Hawthorn and Alistair Clarkson absolutely on fire at the end of the season. I didn't have a bet for that game, but the Hawks finishing off the season well, and the Dogs need to turn things around because we're going into finals after this round. So the next game was actually a really, really good game, Source. We've got Geelong taking on St Kilda.
Yeah, it was a really, really good game of football for all football fans, Pez, but you and I enjoyed it probably a little bit closer. Well, I probably enjoyed it a little bit more with the end result, but it was a great game of football as a seesawing affair, and Geelong actually got the chocolates and came back from as far as 31 points down. Overcome a really, really impressive St Kilda early. They were on top of Geelong. They had moving the ball well. They were kicking goals, and Geelong were actually very lucky that King had a bit of soreness and his impact was definitely taken out of the game in that second half because he was all over the Geelong defenders early.
Oh, 100%. He was up there getting goal assists and actually kicking them themselves, taking contested marks. So he's been looking good in the back end of the season, and St Kilda fans have to be really excited about what he can do moving forward, and hopefully that groin that was giving him a little bit of trouble, he can be rested over the pre-season and train and not get hurt within games and really come out and do that. The last time he played Geelong, he kicked the 1-goal 5 and missed one when he was wide open and couldn't even pick up the ball about 30 metres out in front of goal. So that'd be good for his confidence to turn it around. In terms of betting Source, I had one before it, and then I put one out on Twitter as well because I just love the value. So we had St Kilda plus 25.5 and Jack Steele to get 20+ disposals. That was my $25 bonus from the week before, so that got up. And I also put out a little bet 365, what they put out before the game's Sources. They put a match-up disposal. So Brad Crouch versus Luke Dunstan. You choose one of those players, and the third option is a tie. So I had Brad Crouch to get more than Luke Dunstan, and Luke Dunstan was, they were hanging around each other, and Dunstan was ahead a little bit in the last quarter. Brad Crouch just blew him out of the water, and a $1.90 hit there for the max helped my round.
Yeah, it did. He ended up beating him by 4 pairs, but it was just like the game, a seesawing affair for most of it, and you looked in a bit of trouble there at one stage, but Brad Crouch got the chocolates in the end. Not the same for me though, Pez. I went opposite to your line. I had Geelong at minus 24.5 and Cameron Guthrie to get 25. He got 25 disposals, but Geelong unfortunately did not cover that line of 24.5, so disappointing for them. Speaking of disappointing, Pez, we get into the Power versus the Blues, and the Blues looked really impressive earlier. The little sideboards scoreboard that happens on Fox Footy down in the little right-hand corner, and it was like 38 to 24 or something. The Blues had the lead, and then I don't know what happened, but the end result definitely does not even get close to a 14-point turnaround.
No, Carlton doing Carlton things. I'm glad I didn't have a bet in this one, or if I did, I might have gone the Port Adelaide line. I'm not sure, but I just was glad to stay away from this one. And Carlton disappoint their fans for the second last time before the end of the season.
Second last time this year, Pez, because I'm sure that they'll do it again. As much as they are not coming, I'm sure they're telling fans that they are coming. But yeah, massive 95-point disappointment for the Blues. I again stayed away from that one, Pez, because as we said in the pre-show, you can't trust either of those teams for big victories, and you don't know what Carlton's going to produce. And wow, they definitely didn't show up after halftime.
No, definitely not. And one team that didn't show up at all was Collingwood. Brisbane versus Collingwood. Brisbane absolutely annihilated them.
Absolutely annihilated them from start to finish, Pez. They never looked in doubt, even though it was close during the first quarter. So many things to talk about in this game. You had Cameron kicked 6 goals straight. Danaher looked good up forward. McStay looked good. Cockatoo, the ex-Geelong, he looked pretty nifty around goals, and he might retain a nice little forward spot going into finals. But Brisbane looked in control, damaging, and what was also good was my bet for this game, Pez. I had a bonus bet in this one. I had Brisbane 25 plus, which obviously when you win by as much as they did in 85 points, that covered easy. And I had the overs on 142.5, and Brisbane actually missed that by 1 point just on their own. They scored 142 points, so I missed it by 0.5, Pez.
Well, there you go. You've got your little bonus bet win there. I had my own little bet here, a $25 stake. Brisbane minus 9.5, so I did a pick your own line. Over 136.5, very, very easy there, the pick your own line there. And Daniel McStay at home, he kicked his 2 goals. So without the injury there that they've got to Eric Hipwood, so he's spending a lot of time down forward, and was pretty good value there by himself.
Yeah, great value there, Pez. Another green tick for us. Next game, North Melbourne, Sydney. Not much to really talk in here. It was a bit of a dead rubber. Sydney threw away a big lead towards the end, much to many punters' disappointment, but I had a 3-leg same-game multi. Sydney to win, Aaron Hall to get 25, Luke Parker to get 25. 3 green ticks, Pez, and 1 big green tick on the bet slip for me.
Yeah, my bet losing after the siren. So I was one of those punters. Had Sydney minus 14.5, the early line, which was good because it went up to around 16.5 before the bounce. And Sydney just looked to be dominating, 30 points up and raring to go. They kept, kicking a steadier when North were coming in that last quarter. They'd kick a steadier and you'd be like, all right, should be okay here. It was 20 points up. Less than a minute to go. North Melbourne are in the back line. They come down and get a mark inside 50. The young bloke goes back and kicks a goal to crush Sydney minus backers, crush their hearts, and lose by the 0.5 there. So didn't enjoy that one at the end.
No, you wouldn't have, Pez. The next game, we had the D's and the Crows. This is a non-event, Pez. The D's making absolute mincemeat by 41 points of the Crows. Not much to really talk about this one, Pez. Neither of us had a bet. Is there anything that stands out to you want to talk about?
Just for the backers that did have the 1 to 39 or the 40 plus, I did see a few punters on Twitter had the 1 to 39 source, and after the siren, another one that goes over the 40 points there. So not a good round for some of those margins.
I mean, it all is on Bailey Fritch's last quarter efforts, wasn't it? 5 goals in the last quarter, 7 straight, not a bad effort.
No, yeah, but if you're 1 to 39, you probably don't want him to play that well.
No, I don't want him to play that well this week.
Yeah.
All right, we get on to the next game, Pez, and again, I steered clear to this one because I thought Essendon was going to win, but I didn't want to invest any money in it because I really, really don't want Essendon to make those finals. But Pez, you went in a different direction. How did you go?
Yeah, I just wanted to cheer for something. I took Gold Coast plus 21
Gold Coast have been cheering for that for years.
I just wanted to go, against this Essendon side, maybe lost by 60 points in the end. So I threw away $25 here and a little precursor to our bet slip. I'm not going to make the same mistake and bet with my heart against Essendon this week.
No, one of those mistakes that sometimes you can do, Pez, is playing with your heart, and that's one of the tough things as a punter. You need to look at the stats and look at the evidence and make an educated bet rather than a bet with your heart. But the next game, Pez, was an absolute cracker of the game. We spoke about it earlier. Fremantle taking on the West Coast Eagles in front of a packed house, SBS Stadium, and it was an unbelievable derby over there in Perth.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. We mentioned it in our introduction there, Source, with the crowd there, and they have to really play the grand final there if they can have a capacity crowd. But the one that Fremantle haven't done very well against West Coast in recent times. So for them to get another one up, and their young players playing really well towards the back half of the season. No Nathan Fyfe for a lot of the year, really, with injury and things like that. So they're looking really good. John Longmuir has got them playing well. He had them playing very defensive last year, and now they're becoming a little bit more attacking and scoring a bit more. And Sean Darcy helps that a lot as a dominant ruckman too.
Yeah, and as you said, with the exclusion of Nat Fyfe for most of the year, some of those young guns, like Caleb Serong, he was an absolute menace on the weekend. 31 touches, 2 goals, including one from the boundary, which, West Coast fans will say it was clearly out of bounds, but an absolute mint goal.
I think it was out of bounds.
It was out of bounds by a mile. But a great goal, and as you said, a really exciting young list now that they're starting to not only continue that defensive pressure, but now they're starting to put it on the scoreboard. And early on, Pez, I was really, really disappointed because I thought I was going to lose this game on one leg of Fremantle 1-39, because they looked in control. It was a late surge in the second half. The West Coast Eagles helped me cover my Fremantle bet 1-39. I had Adam Chera for 20 disposals and Caleb Serong, as mentioned. He got that huge win for the weekend. Pairs $112.50 into the kitty.
Yeah, nice $4.50 get. And West Coast, without looking at stats, would have to be one of the worst first quarter sides that they have been. They've scored 0 goals in many, many first quarters, just from memory this year, which is not a good stat to be involved in. We head to our multi for the end of the round, and disappointment central because I had the Western Bulldogs, the 3 games I was most confident in. Sydney to win, Port Adelaide to win, which they won comfortably. And then the Western Bulldogs, who just didn't show up, and Hawthorn really got over the top of them. So my 50 max stake didn't come back with any more money, and I've got a bonus to use this week to just try and get that one back.
Yeah, and we spoke about this last week, Pez. I was doing the same theory. The 2 games I was most confident in were the Swans and the Dogs, and I chucked in the Cats there to make it a little bit of an extra profit. But the Dogs, really disappointing, and it's nothing worse than losing that very early on in your round. It was the second game of the round, and I was already out with my multi, and yeah, disappointing. So I had a max 50 on that, and I've got a bonus back. And it was disappointing, Pez, because that was also money for VBs as well.
Oh, there we go, Dill. He will jump on the Instagram and send that message if he hasn't already there. This round 22, I staked $175 Source, and I returned $207.50. So, and a return on investment of 18.57%. So we'll take that if we can get that. And for the year, 4,255 staked, $4,541.55 returned for an ROI of 6.73%. with only 1 round and finals to go.
Yeah, we're really head hunting that 10%, Pez. And your 18.57% was not too bad, but it was nothing in comparison to mine, Pez. Staked 100 for the round, returned a massive 265, an ROI of 165%. You little ripper. So staked for the year, $3,750, returned $4,085.54, a ROI of 8.94%. So very happy with the topsy-turvy sort of round that I've had. Pairs have been up, I've been down, but heading into finals, heading into the last round, pretty confident, aiming for that 10%.
Yeah, both with a pretty comfortable lead. So you'd hope we wouldn't head into the minus after the grand final this year. So we're looking good there, but the 8.94%, the percentage isn't the important thing anymore behind the boundary.
No, it's not.
it's the emojis. So I've got my round emoji, which is the first one. I had the swan. Can you tell us why I would have had the swan, Source?
No, you're an ugly duckling.
Well, the swans are after the siren. You let me down with a little bit more profit there, which would have been really nice. And we've changed it up a little bit. We're not just under the tree. We're past 5% here, 6.73. So I've got a little hut over my head. I'm not in the hotel. I'm not in the lobby, but got a little hut over my head to keep me safe.
I think when I was about 5%, Pez, I had a tent. So you've upgraded the tent for yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm not 5%. So if you read that, it's 6.73.
I said
so
around that, mate. Around that. And me for the round, I have my little purse because it was a nice little collect, Pez, I'm guessing. Nice little bank.
Yeah, well, the type of purse. You know what type of purse it is?
No.
It's
clutch. It's a clutch.
It's a clutch.
Oh, clutch. I love it. That is awesome. And I wish I had discovered that on my own.
165% in round 22.
Sauce, baby.
That's just absolute clutch. So I thought if anyone had worked that out, they would have loved that little emoji there.
Love that one, Pez. I'm not really familiar with women's handbags and purses, but I'm glad that I've got you as an expert there. And then I've also got my little house, which it's a single story at the moment, Pez, but once we get through our bet slip, Pez, I'm sure I'm going to be building a double story.
Well, the fact that the size of the bets was relatively small.
Our bets with an opportunity about 50 metres out.
I was with a mate and we were getting sort of ready to leave, and he said, I think I'm going to whack 10 on Maxi. Do you want some as well? And I said,
Oh, yes! Yes!
Well, there we go. The beauties of remote recording.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, there's a little bit of a delay there, Pez.
I can't even see you press the button either. So we go from there. But we are into our bet slip source. And usually the first thing we do
are the specials.
Cyril takes a special and goes bang.
And they've really come to play in the last round, source, especially Sportsbet here. So we've got the Friday night match, the Dogs versus the Power. The kick a goal first 2 minutes, you win. So if you're going to bet on any of them head-to-head anyway, you might as well make that with Sportsbet and try and get an early payout there. The 3+ leg same-game multi, up to 3 refunds per match for all matches this round. So well done there, Sportsbet. And they've also got the head-to-head multi. So 3 head-to-heads has to be over $2. You can get your bonus back like both of us did last round, source there. We go to Tab. And Tab are, pulling their finger out as well. They've got the 3+ leg same game multi for every single game. And I really, really like that because I don't have to use my alternate account on Sportsbet. I can just use my own account on Tab to make some bets there. Now, this one, Source, they had it last week. It's an exclusive in-venue offer. Oh. So AFL head-to-head special, you lead at halftime, but you lose, but you must place the bet in venue. So if you're in lockdown in Victoria, the TAB is actually closed. Bad luck, you can't access that one.
It's not essential? It's not essential?
No, maybe it should be, especially if you've got a special like that. Lead at halftime but lose, you're paid out.
Yeah, it's really disappointing that they're not making that live to the app users and, thinking of the Victorians in lockdown, Pest, especially because I feel like we're essential. We're building houses and I feel like it needs to be open for us.
Yeah, you've got your clutch purse with your money in there to build your double story and everything as well. Ladbrokes, they've got the AFL $2 lines, and you go into Neds. We've got Friday night AFL. This is an interesting one. They've got the 3+ leg. 1 leg fails, you get a bonus back. But for this one, you can actually price boost it. All right, so you can put your price boost, get a little bit of extra coin, and still have access to that special like you usually wouldn't if you did price boost. So interesting one there. They've got the $2 lines as well because they are the same company as Ladbrokes.
That's really interesting, that little price boost there, Pez. I like that. I like that at all. I wish I'd used it, but I like it.
Fair enough. No, didn't use it. I didn't use it either, to be honest, because I just stuck with Tab for the whole round.
Oh, yeah, you're showing your loyalty on the one company that hasn't banned you from everything, so...
Yep, sponsorship open, TAB, so contact us at Behind the Bound.
After we just gave them a flogging for not offering it on the app. Makes sense. All right, let's get into what will be a very memorable, hopefully, Pez, round 23. It's going to be an absolute cracker. So many of these games matter to finals, and hopefully we just see some great footy, some close games leading into what should be a really, really great 2021 final series. We start things off with third versus fourth. Western Bulldogs taking on Port Adelaide. Basically, the team who wins finishes higher and could earn a home final. Western Bulldogs come in as favourites at $1.68. Port Adelaide outsiders at $2.19. The line has come in, started at 7.5, is down to 5.5 in favour of the Dogs, and the over-under for this one, Pez, 158.5.
Yeah, well, remember last time when the Power couldn't beat anyone, the Bulldogs went over there to Adelaide Oval and got them. So they're hoping to do that again at Marvel. Garcia's been omitted and Rock Smith comes in, and Cleary was an interesting omission for mine. Fantasia injured with Trent McKenzie and Stephen Motlop coming back in for the Power. So I'm really unsure about the victor in this one, because the Dogs didn't look too great last week against Hawthorn, but I think they're going to be really on the march to bounce back, and the Bont is going to have a big say in that as well this week. But Port Adelaide, they've got to win as well to try and keep that top 4 spot. So it's an absolutely you've got 2 matches of the round. You've got the 2 top 4 ones that we spoke about. But for mine, I've just put a 3-leg same game multi together, Sauce, and I've just put some disposals in there. So Carl Amon to get 20 disposals. He's their user and their link-up player in the middle of the ground. Liberatore, their little inside gun, to get 20 plus disposals. He's pretty good value if he can get over the line and get that. And Jackson McRae on the wing, he's their link-up player, and he gets the ball any opportunity he can. So I've got him to get 30 plus disposals. Odds of $2.10, and I'll put 25 on it.
Like it, Bears. I like the disposal markets when you're not sure. In this game, I was really tossing up between $50 on the nose for Port Adelaide with Sportsbet special, hoping that they score the first couple of goals so it pays out early, or a 3-leg same game multi. I think Port Adelaide can get it done. I think this game means a lot more to them in terms of really trying to sew up a top spot. And as you said, the Dogs have been really disappointing 3 weeks in a row, and it hasn't just been the players disappointing. Their game plan seems to have crumbled. Whether teams have worked them out, I'm not sure what's happening, but I reckon that the Port Power can get it done. I've gone a 3-leg same game multi with Neds. Haven't used the charge up feature. Was unaware of that, Pez, so it's really disappointing for me. I've gone Robbie Gray to get 15. He's come back last couple of weeks. He should be able to get that. Treloar to get 15. And Port Adelaide at the line with the $2 special plus 5.5. That gives me odds of 267, and I've gone the maximum, Pez, $50 on that one.
Whoa, big one to start. And Treloar's in the 15 plus market there.
Yeah, he's $1.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Absolute Mickey Mouse, that one is $1. But that's what's good with Neds. Neds, they include all of the players there, and they have $1 because, I mean, there's a chance that he gets an injury, touch wood, or, there's a chance that he doesn't get it, and everyone's going to do what I've done and put it in there. So I like that they're ballsy, and they put in all the markets.
And if you do like that bet from Source and you do want to follow along, just make sure you use the little price boost on Neds as well, because you're still eligible for the return.
Am I still eligible, Pez?
You've already put your first bet on it. Oh, I don't actually know how that works, Sauce.
I might have to look into it and put a second bet down. Hey. No, let's not
Double down.
Double down. Let's get on to the next one, Pez. Richmond taking on Hawthorn in last game for Alistair Clarkson, and last game for a couple of, actually only one Tiger there. And we got odds of $3.18. It's a long time since I've seen Richmond with an outsider tag of $3.18 taking on Hawthorn, $1.36. I feel like this is odds for almost 10 years ago, Pez. The line here is 18.5, 3.5 goals to the Hawks, and the over-under is 157.5.
Yeah, well, last time they played at MCG earlier this year, Richmond won pretty comfortably by 29 points. But with all the outs, all the ins and outs, I'm not going to go through them all because we don't have enough time before the start of the game. But losing a lot. Hawthorn strengthened with Luke Bruce, O'Meara and Warple coming back in. So 3 big innings for Hawthorn. And the punters have just gone, you know what, Tigers, their season's over anyway. They're not going to care. They're not going to come out and put in the effort because they haven't been in the past month of footy. So they've gone all out on the Hawthorn Hawks. I wouldn't trust the bottom side at $1.36 though, Source. So in terms of that, I'm not going to touch this game at the moment because I think it's just too dangerous, and I'm having no bet.
Yeah, I love this one, Pez, and I said this to you earlier that it's a bet that I'm not sure of, But I think that when you've got a dynasty and all the talk about the dynasty being dead, and Friday night they were embarrassed last week, there's still some Tigers in there that are not going to go down without a fight. And 3.5 goal a line is absolute a bargain, I think, for a team that was one win away, technically still have a chance to make finals against a bottom four side. So I've gone a 3-leg same game multi with Sportsbet. Richmond, I've taken that line 18.5. I've gone with Sydney Stack to get 15. The last couple of weeks, he has moved in more closer to that 20 a game. And Jaden Short, absolute beast, 25. That gives me odds of $3.25, and I've put 25 on that one, Pez. I mean, they've still got names like Rioli, they've got Short, Asprey playing his last game. They've got Reroll, Bolton, Lynch. There's still enough in there that were a part of the Richmond dynasty that are just going to be sitting there going, you know what? No, it's about pride now, and I think they come out and they get the chocolates.
Well, there you go. Best of luck there. You're going all out this round, Source, by the sounds of things. Just racking up the legs and racking up the dollars. We'll see what you've got in the next one. We've got Sydney taking on the Gold Coast Suns.
Yes, we do. The Swans take on the Suns, as mentioned. $1.17 favourites for the Swans, $5.10 outsiders are Gold Coast. The line is 30.5 in favour of the Swans, and the over-under is 163.5.
Yeah, I didn't like last week how the Swans let me down on that bargain of the line at minus 14.5. So a line against the Gold Coast, minus 30.5. Gold Coast historically, end of the year, haven't performed very, very well and fatigued off. But we'll see what happens in this one. I've put together a 4-leg multi, but I don't get a bonus back in this one, Source, because it's not over the $2 mark. So I've just gone with it. I couldn't find anything else to jump it up by another 30 cents that I really loved. So I'm just going with something that I really, really like without that insurance. So I've got Jake Lloyd to get 25 disposals. We've got Callum Mills to pick up 20 disposals, Fiorini for the Gold Coast Suns to pick up 20, and Lukosius to pick up 15 disposals. It's $1.70, put 25 on it.
Okay, Pez, that's a nice little safe one just to get up some coin into your ROI and nice little sew up a win there.
Yeah, well, here's hoping that can happen. We've got Lukosius, who's, had a couple of games where he's got 12 or 13 disposals. So things can still happen and where that lets you down. But fingers crossed that it all goes to plan.
Yep. With this one, Pez, I've gone really basic, and I actually love this bet. I'm really, really happy with it. And what have we been talking all year about the last game with the Swans, Pez?
Every time Source has a good round, he comes out and he gets his confidence up and absolutely...
Pez, you'll love this bet. Buddy Franklin needs 14 goals to get his 1,000. I don't think he's going to get the bag, Pez, but it is unbelievable odds. If a 3-leg same game multi, this one, $2.87, and all I need is Franklin to kick 2 goals. I reckon they're going to be they're going to absolutely smash the Gold Coast Suns, and they're going to be trying to get him as close as they can to that 1,000 mark. So I've gone Lance Franklin, anytime goal scorer. Lance Franklin, 2 or more goals. Lance Franklin, most goals. All multied up together, 287.
So if no one else kicks multiple goals and he kicks 2 goals, you actually win that bet.
Yep. And it's a nice little insurance there. You can't tell me he needs 14 to go and they're not going to try and pile it on, especially against the Gold Coast Suns. He could kick 5 or 6.
I really like that one. I might put that out live on Twitter as well.
Yep, that is a great. Hey,
that's how much I like it.
I told you, it's a great bet, and it's a bit of a hack there, because obviously there's a range of different reasons different ways that I can get a bonus bet there, Pez. As long as he kicks 2 goals, I'm in for a good little shot there.
You're guaranteed a bonus bet, realistically. Do you know what he's paying for 3+, 4+?
I know that for 6+ he's paying $11.
Okay.
5.
Yeah, I don't.
$5 he's paying for $5. $5 he's paying for 5. So probably around the $4 mark, I'd say, Pez.
I really don't mind him for about 4 goals there. I've just actually got it up here. So 3 goals, $1.72. 4 goals, $2.88.
$2.88. That is great value.
And if he's going to kick 4, you're better off to do your bet with the $2.87.
Yeah.
With the 2 goals and the most goals. I like that. Good stuff.
All right, let's get on to the next game, Pez. West Coast taking on the Brisbane Lions. This one, the bookies have it as a dead rubber. It is $1.13 for Brisbane. West Coast outsiders at $6.05. The line is 38.5, which is very, very important, depending on some results later tonight. Over under is 171.5.
Yeah, if the Doggies lose, then Brisbane will know exactly how much they need to win by. So if the Doggies do lose, look out West Coast, because Brisbane are going to absolutely pile it on against you guys. But I don't know who's going to win tonight, Doggies or Power. But for the Brisbane game, I'm still going to go the line. So Brisbane minus 38.5, which is $1.90 by itself. Interestingly enough, 40 plus is also $1.90. So you get an extra point if you take the line for some reason. Then I put Brisbane head-to-head in there as well as Daniel McStay anytime goal scorer. So those three, $2.15. If Brisbane win and McStay kick a goal, but they don't win by 39 or more, I'll get that bonus bet back. So that's how I've taken advantage of it to try and use that insurance source. So I'll put 25 on that, 215.
Love it, Pez. Love little loopholes that help us get some profit and keep us alive. I agree, Pez. I think Port Adelaide win tonight, and which means Brisbane are going to know the mathematical equation. They've been in absolutely ripping form. West Coast have been pretty disappointing the last month, this season actually.
Capitulated.
And what that does, that all adds up, Pez, to a big win from Brisbane. I've gone Brisbane at the line, minus 38.5, multied up with Birchall to get 15 and Jared Lyons to get 25. That gets me odds of 270, and I've whacked 25 on that one.
There you go. You're going decent odds, and every game so far you've had no bets. I reckon you're just going for the 10 bets this round.
Well, that's disappointing for you, Pez. In the next one, no, actually, I've got a bet in the next one as well. All right, the next one, we've got the top of the table clash. This has to be one of the games of the rounds. Geelong taking on Melbourne, $1.90 for the Cats, $1.94 for the Demons. The line is non-existent. It is minus 0.5, so it's a pick 'em this way, Pez. And the over-under is 145.5. It always baffles me when they do the 0.5 lines.
Yeah, 0.5. Might as well not have a line, just do the head-to-head. But when I jumped on earlier today, I got the minus 1.5 plus 1.5 type line. So I missed out there. But I've put my cheeky down, Source. So if you can find that button over there, you can press it at any time.
Cheeky!
Yeah, very good job. I had to just speak to fill that little bit of a gap there. But
please, mate, I'm all over it.
four legs here, just a $10 bet. I'm thinking Geelong will win minus 1.5. If they win, Jeremy Cameron 2+ goals, Guthrie 25+ disposals. But the game to go under 145.5 points, so a low scoring affair. $6 odds, just a cheeky 10 on that, and see how we go there.
Yeah, Pez, I like that bet, but I'm a little bit wary of Geelong in this game. Geelong haven't been in great form, and I don't know which way this is going to go. I have bet with my heart a little bit here, Pez, but I've gone the bonus bet from last round that I had. So I've gone Sam Menegola to get 20 or more, multi that up with Geelong head-to-head. That gives me odds of 230, hoping to make my money back of 65. But I'm really, really uncertain about that and looking forward just to be able to enjoy the game.
Yeah, well, top spot on the line, isn't it?
It is, and by the way that the odds have putting it, they've just sort of leant forward in Geelong in terms of the home ground. So hopefully that is the difference down at GMHBA Stadium. But it'll be a great game either way, Pez.
Yeah, and I remember going to that game, Geelong v Melbourne at the MCG earlier in the year, Source, and seems like a lifetime ago since we could travel into the footy and watch a game.
Not only did we travel into the footy, Pez, we caught the train into the footy. We had a couple of bevs, we had a couple of dickheads behind us, and then after, we had a few more bevs at the pub. Can you believe that? Like, there's three things there that we haven't been able to do in so long. Train ride, bevs at the pub, and we were at the footy having some bevs. Walking
up to the Precinct Hotel, watching a Fremantle game there on the phone.
Sunday
That's afternoon. Right. That was very good. The next game, we've got Carlton taking on the Giants. Easy scenario. Giants win. They play finals.
Exactly right, Pez. And the bookmakers have them favourites at $1.29. Carlton outsiders at $3.36. The line is minus 21.5 in favour of the Giants, and the over/under is 167.5.
Yeah, I really like this game. I think the Giants will win. They've been in ripping form in recent times, and a few of their superstars are really stepping up. Taranto has been a surprise forward, actually, going forward and actually popping up. Kicked 4 last week. He's kicked multiple goals in a few games over the past month. So GWS, I've got them pick your own line minus 9.5 into pick your own total over 147.5 into Josh Kelly to get 20 or more disposals. He'll do that pretty easy. And Sam Walsh to get 20 or more disposals, the superstar there at Carlton. Those four together, $2 odds. So you get the rule, you get the insurance, and I'll put 25 on it.
Nice job, Pez. I agree. I think that the Giants win this game pretty convincingly as well. I am steering clear, though, because I don't know how Carlton respond. They are one of those teams that I've tended to stay away in the last couple of weeks because they are so unpredictable. And in Eddie Betts' last game, you don't know what sort of fight they might show. So steer clear for me for that one. If I was forced to have a bet, I would probably look towards maybe the line, minus 21.5. I think if the Giants win, they do get it done easy.
Imagine that. Someone's holding a gun to your head and trying to force you to make a bet.
It's every time you and I get on the beers, Pez, at about 11 o'clock with the European Ping Pong League comes on and we're forcing down each other bets.
No, that's all right. That's happened before. We move on to a game which we don't know how it's going to play out because it's basing on results previously. So depending on the results that happened before, it could be a dead rubber and no team to make finals, or it could be Fremantle win to make finals, or a dead rubber, really.
Yeah, if all the favourite wins, Pez, this game becomes really, really interesting because it becomes pivotal in West Coast, Fremantle, and I guess even your Saints there to make it there, Pez, with 24 goals. But it is really, really pivotal if all the favourites win. Can Collingwood cause an upset, Pez? This is the question we've been asking all year. Do Essendon make finals? Essendon fans think that they've sewn it up. The bookies have it as well. $1.28 for the Bombers. Collingwood outsiders at $3.70. The line is minus 22.5. The over-under is 164.5. Pez, do the Bombers make finals?
Oh, you'd have to say yes at this stage, but it's heading up to 7,000 days without a finals win, which is really interesting for the Bombers fans. So they're hoping to get rid of that this year. They've done a tremendous job to actually get enough wins. They've had very poor performances this year as well to actually be in contention. They're in the 8 at the moment. All they need to do is beat Collingwood, who are a poor side. They could finish 17th, Collingwood, this year as well. So a bottom 2, bottom 3 side to get into the finals where you haven't been for a long period of time would be a really great achievement for this young Essendon side, and see if they can get rid of that 6,000 plus day thing. I think they can win. I think they can get in finals. I don't think they can win a final. I don't have a bet in this game. You skip the St Kilda Fremantle game. I don't have a bet in that either.
Yeah, well, I didn't think you'd want to talk about that, Pez.
Well, I will have a bet in that. If Fremantle have to win to get into the finals, there's a big in for St Kilda, and there's something about this big in, and not a big in terms of a good thing for St Kilda either. It's just been updated. Oh yeah, no, still there. Paul Hunter comes in. Max King's out. So if with Paul Hunter being in the side, St Kilda just don't win. So money on Fremantle there. Maybe a live bet later on.
What we'll do, Pez, is we'll go through the Essendon game and then we'll get to the Fremantle game with the odds. I'm steering clear for that one anyway, but we can talk about that in just a moment.
No, I've said for both games, mate. I'm out for both of them. May have something to do on the Sunday.
Well, I'm definitely not out in the Essendon Collingwood one, Pez, and probably why I was a little bit excited is because this is where I have played my
cheeky.
And that's why I was a little bit excited to get to this game, Pez. I don't think Collingwood can win at all, but I haven't got it in me to cheer for Essendon to make finals. I had them bottom 4 at the start of the season. I still don't believe that they are a finals-ready side, and I'm going hard in this one, Pez. I'm going cheeky odds of $5. I've put my $10 confident bet on them.
Going hard.
Going hard. Jack Crisp to get 30. I've gone real big on him. Collingwood at the line, plus 22.5. And Darcy Cameron to kick 1 goal, $1.40 on his own. That gets me odds of $5, Pez. And not only would I be happy with the win, but I'd be happy kicking Essendon out of the finals. That'd be a great little victory.
Oh, yeah. No, let him play. Let him play finals and see how they go.
Nah, I think it's better just to add 365 days straight onto it as soon as they lose.
Don't have to wait another week to add it on.
Yeah, plus it shuts up a lot of those Essendon fans that were like, see, we were bottom 4. It's like, well, if you didn't finish top 8, you're just well off as the bottom 4. Anyway.
Nah, you're wrong, mate. Come on.
Yeah, I know I was wrong, but I'm going to be right with my other two predictions. So, hey, thanks, Bob. Collingwood bottom 2 and West Coast to make the 8. Thank you very much. Anyway, let's get on to that game that I quickly skipped over. St Kilda versus Fremantle. St Kilda odds with Paul Hunter still at favourite, $1.70 there, Pez. That surely is going to change. 2.16 for the Dockers, -5.5 is the line. The over-under is over 148.5. Pez, you've already sort of spoken. Anything more that you'd like to add to?
Well, Lockie Schultz goes out injured and Connor Blakely, but Andrew Brayshaw comes back into that Fremantle side, probably because they're not a great travelling side, but crazy to have St Kilda at $1.70 odds with Paul Hunter in the side.
Yeah, I actually really like the Dockers in this one, Pez, and I haven't put a bet down, but I couldn't imagine that those odds of $2.16 hang around too much. Partner them up with a couple of 20 disposals or 15 disposals. Use that as your anchor to get it over the $2 mark, and use the others as a bit of insurance.
Yeah, a little banker punt. Yeah, not bad. We've got the battle of the bottom to finish off round 23.
Yeah, it's really disappointing the AFL's put this on at 5 o'clock. Sorry, it's 4:40 on a Sunday afternoon, the last game. It doesn't make any impact. No one's going to watch this game. It's North Melbourne taking on Adelaide. $1.84 are the favourites with the Crows. $2 outsiders are the Kangaroos. -1.5 is the line. Over under 165.5.
Yeah, you're wrong there because people are going to watch it. I'm going to watch this game because I'm going to have a little bet in it. And the reason I say going to is because I've got my bonus bet to use from my sports bet multi last week, and I don't have access to my alternate account at the moment, so I can't actually put it on. So I am going to put it on as soon as I can at some point tonight, but I'm putting the whole bonus 50 on the Crows to win.
Oh, the Crows
to win. I think the Crows to win. North Melbourne don't have anything to play for. They're 6 points behind the Adelaide Crows. So it's really disappointing, actually, because Melbourne drawing to the Crows earlier in the year, Melbourne could have at least won that game by 1 point. North Melbourne at least have something to fight for, not to win the wooden spoon, but they got the wooden spoon confirmed last week. So North have nothing to fight for. Adelaide playing at Adelaide Oval, ready to, they get a good way to end the season, build their confidence up and beat the wooden spooners one last time before having a break.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Pez. I think North Melbourne have probably played the better football over the last month. They've covered their line in a lot of their games, but I think the Qs are in the rack with this one. I think they're checked out. Adelaide's checked out. I guess I'd probably lean towards North at the $2 odds, only because it's a little bit of it's literally a 50-50 game, I think. So I'd probably lean towards North Melbourne, but otherwise steer clear for me.
Yeah, and fair enough. We're final multi of the regular season comes down to this. Now, Sportsbet have the 3+ head-to-head multi. As I said, I don't have access to my alternate account, but I've gone into Tab and I've made a 3+ league same game multi. No insurance source, but it's not over $2 anyway, so I wouldn't get insurance either way. The 3 games that I am most confident in this week, I've put in my multi. Sydney to beat the Gold Coast Suns, Brisbane to beat the West Coast Eagles, and GWS to beat Carlton. So those are the 3 games. $1.70, max 50 on it. First and only max for the round. And I wouldn't want to lose this multi as well, like last week.
No, you wouldn't, Pez. It'd be disappointing if one of those 3 kill you, because last week you were worried about one and that one didn't let you down, but the doggies did. So good to say you steer clear of the doggies this week. I've gone 3-leg same game multi with Sportsbet. Sydney, GWS, because as we said, they're the guaranteeds we're most confident in. And I've put Port Adelaide in there just to juice it up, and gets me odds of $3.30. 1 leg fails, I get my bonus back, Pez. But that enticement of a nice little potential winnings of 82.63 was too juicy to turn down.
So you're really thinking that Port Adelaide, after having a disappointing year, not beating many top 8 sides at all, they're going to come out in this final round and beat the Bulldogs at Marvel.
I think it's one of those things where if the Bulldogs were even close to better form, Pez, I would lean towards the Dogs, but they've just been putrid, and I can't confidently back the Dogs going into this final series. And again, as I said, it wasn't just the way that they've been playing. They've got a couple of injuries. Their game plan seems to have worked out. And Port Adelaide are playing some good football. They've got a lot. They're healthy at the right amount. At the right time. They've got the least amount of injuries going into a final series. And we know one of the pivotal things in premierships is having a low injury count. So, yeah, I think that Port Adelaide get it done, Pez, even away from home.
Yeah, all right. There you go. We'll get into that. We'll wrap everything up here. We've wrapped up the Betslip source. It's looking very good out on Twitter at Behind the Bound. We'll get into the coin toss.
It was a toss of the coin.
That 5 wins the toss.
Yes, it's been an unusual year for coin tosses.
Big time again!
Here we go, Pez. One last time in the regular season. I'm sure we'll keep this going alive into the finals, but the last coin toss for the regular season. Pez, what are the standings currently as we sit?
Yeah, well, I made up some ground source, and I was 1 point behind, and I was still trying to fight last week to, try and do that and get there. I was even with you, believe it or not, after the St Kilda game, and then you took it right back in the Port Adelaide game with Carlton looking good early, but Port Adelaide coming over the top, and then at the end of the round you got Essendon and Fremantle, so you go 3 ahead heading into the last round of regular season. But as you said, we've got finals and grand final to go. So it could go either way, but I am going to do everything I can this round to try and come back. So you are going first because you have the lead, and I'm just going opposite of you in lots of things.
All right, Pez. Well, the first one is the Dogs and Port Adelaide. I'm going plus 5.5 with Power.
You are? So I will go the Bulldogs.
Here we go. I'm going Richmond plus 18.5 versus the Hawks.
Yeah, who are you going? Richmond? You are?
Richmond plus 18.5, Pez.
You know where I'm going? I'm going the Hawks.
All right, Sydney versus Gold Coast, minus 30.5. This one's a bit of a tough one, but I am going to lean towards the Swans.
No, I can't do that. I'm going Swans.
Brisbane versus West Coast, Pez. Now, through our bet slip, we were both all over the minus 38.5. I'm guessing you're staying there.
Yeah, you can't look past that, can you? Have to go Brisbane.
Geelong versus Melbourne. The line, as we said, is minus 0.5, which is really hard to read. I'm going Geelong.
Yeah, I have to go Geelong because of my bet, so I can't go opposite you there, but I need at least one more opposite.
All right, GWS versus Carlton. The line is minus 21.5. I'm going the Giants, minus 21.5.
Oh, what games are left? which one do I do it with?
We'll catch up. We'll catch up in the last one anyway, Pez, because we're opposite that one. So go with
all right, excellent. I'll go the Giants. I'll go the Giants.
All right, Essendon versus Collingwood. I'm going plus 22.5 with Collingwood.
Oh, yeah? All right. Yeah, I can go Essendon in that.
And the last game, the Crows take on North Melbourne. I'm going plus 1.5 in favour of North Melbourne.
Yeah, and I'm going the Crows, and we've missed a game.
Have we?
Yeah, the St Kilda Fremantle.
I don't know why I keep missing the game.
yeah, you missed it in the bet slip as well.
Oh, goodness me. It must be. I don't know why I've done it. It's here on my list. Yeah, St Kilda versus Fremantle, minus 5.5. I'm going with Freo, plus 5.5.
Are you really? I was going to go Freo as well because I like that. Because Paul Hunter's in, mate.
I know. Lost at selection.
Lost at selection. I have to go with that. I'll go St Kilda just because I'm behind, and we're going to really see who comes out on top this week.
Yeah, we will, Pez. And where can all of our fans get along and see our bet slips? Leave us a review. Leave us a comment. Where can they do that?
Well, at Behind the Bound, jump on Twitter. You can do there. You can message us any ideas or conversations that you want us to have as well. Share your bets and share your cheekies as well. We love seeing them. And you'd have to jump on wherever you listen to podcast source, whether it be on the Apple or the Android.
Yep. Spotify, or iHeartRadio, all your good podcast providers. Make sure you jump on, leave us a 5-star review and a comment. That's how other football fans find us with this amazing content.
We do leave you. We've got a few hours until the Bulldogs Port Adelaide clash. Massive clash tonight, Sauce, and I guess this is the good thing about the rolling fixture is they get to put the big games on the Friday night, so the ones that mean the most for the final 8. So looking forward to that one. I'm Pez. Peace out.
I'm still Sauce. We'll catch up next time, guys.